Ancient Egyptians were black. And I don't mean just any black, I mean the blackest of black, like black, blacker than the black that you know. These were known as the Kemites, who are also known as ancient Egyptians. They were the inhabitants of the Nile Valley during antiquity. The term Kemite is derived from the ancient Egyptian word kemit, which means black land. It refers to the fertile soil along the Nile River, which turned black during the annual floods, allowing for agriculture and substance. And some historians speculate that the term kemit was not only called black land, but was actually the land of the blacks, as in the place where you find the black people. Kemites built their society on spiritual principles and cosmic laws. They worshipped a pantheon of deities referred to as Netjuru or Neturu, including Horus, Thoth, and Anubis. Now, they were so advanced and great, but they got conquered. I wonder how it happened, but after the Europeans had control over their lands, they chopped off the noses of their statues and their lips to prevent those statues from being significantly important in the spiritual realm. Please, if you're ready to have this conversation with us, smash that like button and let us begin.
White supremacy. White people destroyed Egyptian monuments that looked too black. White people started separating Egypt from Africa as if it was two different places. White people started making Egyptians look white. And then when people started pointing out that Egyptians were in fact African, they started trying to make it seem like the pyramids were built by aliens because they did not want the modern white world to know how advanced the African culture was. Why do you think they targeted Africa for slaves in the first place? This was all about implementing white supremacy. Take a look at what they did to Jesus Christ. That man ain't white, but they made him white and they forced that white Jesus onto people of color just to further perpetuate the white supremacist agenda.
Then first skin and like, come on, Egyptians were either tan skin or dark Nubians. We don't say African Americans in Egypt, by the way. We say Africans or we say Nubians. So to us, you are a Nubian.
So that's why people keep calling me Nubian Queen.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you are Nubian to us. You are Nubia. So to the Nubians, we are Egyptians because we are the new Egyptians.
The new Egyptians.
The Nubians are the native Egyptians.
The ancient,
We were
right?
the ones who built ancient Egypt.
Wow.
Who built the pyramids, who built ancient Egypt civilization, who invented Egypt, as we would say, were the Nubians.
The Nushis in Africa, you're in the heart of Africa. Yeah,
People?
and you belong to here, whether you like it or not.
You said Egyptians are who? They're black people?
Egyptians are
The
black.
first black king of Egypt, King Tutankhamun. The statue should be here somewhere from black.
Black.
Nice to have you. Where are you from?
Nigeria.
We are black and we're African and we are proud.
Yes.
And the definition of black in Arabic language means beauty. When someone say you're black, say yes, I am beautiful.
So the Egyptians, the first Egyptians were black,
Yes.
And they are black. It's still
We
black.
are black.
It's still black.
And we love to be black.
Amen.
We wouldn't accept any other
Shukran,
color.
shukran.
Are you using Nivea cream?
No.
Screaming.
You need it.
The ancient Kemites, not Egyptians but Kemites, were not Arabs. Arab is an identity that developed 1,000 years later in connection with the Quran and the development of the Arabic language. The ancient Kemites were black African, not like me. My color maybe was in the New Kingdom, but in the Old and Middle Kingdom they were black African. This has been proven over and over again by Sheikh Anta Diop and others. Linguistic proof, picture proof, craniometric proofs, DNA proofs. They even tested the DNA melanin of mummies. My advice to Africans is that you have to believe in the evidence that is right in front of you. This has been proven over and over again. Don't wait for the white Arab invaders to believe. They won't believe because they have a political interest to not believe. But you believe in the truth.
Here are two reasons why the Europeans shot the noses and the lips off the Egyptian statues. The first one is the most blatant. They were definitely racist and had an inferiority complex and tried to hide the fact that this great civilization had African features. The second reason is because they wanted to destroy the spirit of the statue. Now, in ancient times, whenever you conquered a civilization, you destroyed the images of the rulers. Most spiritual cultures believed when you created an image in the real world, and then that image was then paid homage to by a bunch of people, that image garnered a certain energy then that can live in the spirit world. So they didn't want to destroy the Egyptian images because they still wanted to learn from them. But they shot off the noses so the image couldn't breathe in the spirit world and the image would die. They also shut off the lips so the spirit couldn't talk to you.
This is exactly what I've been talking about. They try to whitewash the history. But check this out, the deeper they go, guess what they find? The more melanin they find.
So I was scrolling on earlier today and I saw this video and immediately felt satisfied. So I go to the comment section, said, let me express my gratitude for this moment. And I see this. Beverly said, no white man ever claimed to be Egyptian. Dude, get a grip. Well, Beverly, who this? Since you got such a strong opinion, you know everything, who this? No, see, because you brought this on yourself and Elizabeth Taylor was wildin'. Who this? Yeah, cue the music. Type it with all your chest, just chest out. Just type it tough. And type timidly. No, who this? Before we got out of here, who this? Who this is? Who is it? Who is it? You got all the answers. Who is it?
Isn't it funny how when brothers and sisters talk about how ancient Egyptians look like this, or how they depicted themselves as this or any of these, the middle one looked like India Ari. We get comments like this and really a bunch of other memes that are so racist, I can't even post them on TikTok. I don't think it would even help the conversation. But the funny thing is, these comments came from the same group of people that did this, and worst of all, this. I mean, damn well they didn't have SPF 9000 so that Elizabeth Taylor wouldn't get baked up in the sun. And you can't find me one depiction by Egyptians of them showing themselves with porcelain skin. I mean, Egypt literally lies on a line called the Tropic of Cancer. No pun intended, but it's literally one of the sunniest places on Earth. And y'all know melanoma is not like new or anything, right? The gaslighting has got to stop.
Now, even modern day Egyptians are saying that the ancient Egyptians were really black. And they are the ones that are even pointing out that they were not just the normal black or the ordinary black. They were black, very black, darker than you and I. But I'm asking myself the question, how was Egypt so advanced and great but managed to fall? Was it witchcraft? Were they defeated by a greater magic than theirs? Because at the time, their technology was so advanced, some people nowadays are describing it as witchcraft or magic. And we're not going to get into deep in her perspective. They built the Great Pyramids, and scientists now are speculating that aliens did it. This wasn't done by any human. It must have been aliens. That's how advanced they were. But some of the reasons they say is because of drought and environmental challenges. So starting around 1155 BC, Egypt faced a centuries-long drought, which impacted agriculture, water availability, and overall stability. Now, I know you must be thinking, what could have caused this? Now, the Bible does point out that God was going to make Egypt have a drought. In one of the scriptures, I know most of us brothers and sisters out there are very proficient in this perspective. God did at some point curse Egypt to experience a drought. And if scientific evidence proves this, then it must have been right. So this resulted in economic crisis. You know how if there's a drought, there's not going to be crops and agriculture is going to fail. So a lot of things happened. And then the other phenomenon is the invasion of the sea peoples. Now, they are saying that these mysterious groups displaced the drought and famine in the Western Mediterranean, attacked Egypt during the reigns of pharaohs like Ramses III. Although Ramses III successfully repelled them in 1177 BC, his unaliving in 1155 BC marked a turning point for Egypt. So was ancient Egypt defeated by Atlanteans? Atlantis, as people like to call it. Were these sea people referring to Atlantis? I don't really know. And we're not going to get into this perspective in today's video, but leave your thoughts in the comment section. But these sea people are the ones that defeated ancient Egypt. I suppose they could have been European. I suppose they could have been palm-colored people. Maybe they just described them as sea people. I don't really know. But after that, palm colors went on and chopped off the noses of their statues and their lips because they understood the spiritual significance of those symbols. How did Kemet or ancient Egypt begin? Let's travel back to the ancient North Africa around the end of the 4th millennium BC. Life along the Nile River was peaceful, with people going about their daily lives. But things were about to change. In the south, a new civilization was emerging, led by King Rahamakis of the city, also known as Nubia. He had big plans to expand into Egypt. So Rahamakis wasn't messing around. He sent his army towards Egypt, aiming to take control, especially at a place called Edfu or Efu. His goal was to establish his kingdom there with his son. Now, I know you know his son. His son was god Horus, and they are loyal followers. Together, they wanted to conquer and unite the whole land, laying the foundation for what would become ancient Egypt or Kemet. And this information can be found in the Edfu texts. So archaeologists later discovered that a man named Narmer was actually the key figure. He came from the south and did conquer the north, just like Edfu texts described. Narmer became the first king to unite Upper and Lower Egypt. So there were two separate places, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. The lands of Egypt were fertile, so if you control Egypt, you control agriculture, you control medicine, you control herbs. So Ra and his son Horus understood this, so they embarked on a journey to conquer it. Now, one of the most important discoveries proving Narmer's rule is the Palette of Narmer, found in 1898. This artifact shows Narmer wearing the symbols of a powerful ruler. It's a symbol of his authority over Egypt and his divine right to rule. These symbols on the palette ain't just decorations. They hide secrets about ancient Egyptian power and beliefs. They invite us to explore the mysteries behind ancient Egyptian symbols. Ancient Egypt was ruled by symbols, and it's no surprise that their figures, kings, queens, and everybody that had rule over that land was worshipped. Or at least, the deities such as Ra and Horus, these were worshipped. These were considered as deities, right? They were gods. Because of the symbols that they honored, they understood technologies and things that other civilizations had not yet achieved or understood. Which now takes me to the Jade Ankh. I know you've heard of the Ankh of Egypt before. What was it really? Because a lot of people like to speculate about its purpose. So the Jade Ankh is a modern day term used to describe a specific ancient artifact, though it's important to note that genuine jade is not native to Egypt. So they say, typically this term refers to an ankh-shaped pendant made from a greenish stone, often serpentine or green feldspar, rather than true jade. The ankh itself is an ancient Egyptian symbol that represents life and immortality. It resembles a cross with a loop at the top and is one of the most recognizable symbols from ancient Egypt. It was commonly used in art and religious iconography throughout Egyptian history. Now, I personally don't know what the jade ankh must have been used for. I'm only saying what I've researched. But Billy Carson says, now hear me out. Billy Carson says that it was used for teleportation. I'm pretty sure I got it right. It was used to teleport oneself from one place in the earth to another place in the earth, or maybe to another part of the universe. He's been reading a lot of emerald tablets lately, so if you're very suspenseful on this perspective, please check out his content. Now, I would like to hear your perspective on today's discussion in the comment section, so please leave me what you think about today's discussion. Do you believe that the ancient Egyptians were black Nubians? Because I do, because the information out there is wild, and the amount of whitewashed figures just around our time is also wild. So that too is one of the phenomena that further exacerbates the notion that palm coloreds must have whitewashed ancient Egyptians. Now, take care. Please like, share, and subscribe. Signing off for now. Enjoy your day.